I'm lost. Can you tell me where I am?
All I hope one day is you could set this aside. Start over, start fresh. And soon you'll realise that is everything you could say.
Call down the reckoning to bring back hope and peace, restore our Gloria to live forever.
Then you're dead.
Bring down the dark regime and know how to unleash eternal power. Lead us to order.
And Greg's always wins.
Lopez knew most of these people, but they didn't know her. They were the same people, but completely different. After she had set up a base, Farkie had left her a welcome gift. This kindness and generosity was very different to the Farkie that she knew. Perhaps this was a new beginning. Maybe this is like what she had wished for, a fresh start. Blake was nothing but a businessman, creating Punani Inc. with Chendog. They had built a massive tower where the business's headquarters would be. Lopez would take a few days to comprehend their situation before taking a trip to the Grand Pyramid, where she met Farkie, Zombie, and Blake. She would try to convince them about everything that had happened in the past, but they wrote her off as delusional. None of them had done that, and none of them were capable of doing that. Zombie suggested that Lopez settle down and make some friends, suggesting Void, revealing that she was currently with Joshi SP. This immediately caught Lopez's attention. However, little to Zombie's knowledge, Void is about to be betrayed by Josh, ending their friendship and sending Void running back to Zombie. This deeply angered him, and he banned Josh from entering his land anywhere around the pyramid. To get revenge, Josh would kill Chendog, an employee of Punani Inc., which is working with Zombie on a brand new project. Blake sprung into action after seeing all of his employees get murdered, quickly assembling a force that would go and bring justice to Josh. This consisted of Lopez, Farkie, Zio, Kotak, Zombie, and Void. Together, they would all travel across the ocean to Josh's base and do whatever was necessary. They slowly approached him, demanding that he drop his weapons and armor or face the consequences. Josh did not comply. Blake warned him that if he didn't, he would face even harsher punishment for killing one of his employees. Again, Josh did not comply. Void warned him that standing down was in his best interest. However, Josh had other plans. The hunters would split up into two different groups, and it would be Lopez, Farkie, and Zio that found Josh first. Josh would accept his fate, but it wasn't over for him. Lopez, who had remembered all the chaos that killing Josh had done before, decided to spare his life, telling him to run as far away as possible. It would be during their adventures and exploration that Farkie and Erica would find an abandoned house. Unfamiliar with who owned it, they would go inside and explore, only to find abandoned chests, furnaces, and barrels. All he would find inside the house was a book, which really had no meaning to him, but contained two familiar names, Lopez and BS Games 24. Punani Inc.'s first investment project would open the next day. Zombie, with help from Punani Inc. and Blake, had opened a brand new pub at Spawn. The Hobbit Hole Inn would be the place to go to socialise and meet with anybody at Spawn. Everybody would gather for the grand opening, grabbing drinks from the bartender Mole. This gave everybody the chance to meet some new people. Erica and Farkie would ask Zombie about the book that they had found. However, he told them that he was just as clueless as they were about it. Instead, he asked them to query Lopez about it, since she seemed to know a lot about what happened in the past. However, going back inside, Zombie had found somebody had stolen from the pub. As a result, he kicked everybody out. As Zombie suggested, Farkie took the book to Lopez the next day. He expected her to know something about it, but she told him she was as clueless as he was. The book also made no sense to her. Zombie's pub had begun to decline in popularity after the incident. This made Blake consider pulling out funding for it, so that he could reinvest it in making his tower even taller at Spawn. This annoyed Zombie, but upon returning to his pub, he found something shocking. It was destroyed, and a sign stood outside, saying, "I know what you did. Greg's always wins." Another mysterious and unexplainable occurrence that happened was when Lopez's pet goat, Puss, was murdered, with no trace on who the killer might be. She would interrogate Mole, Kotuk, Zombie, and Void, with the latter two accusing Blake for both the murder of Puss and their destruction of the pub. Blake's business and his interests were now at stake. Punani Inc. was under threat as people's opinions changed against him. He would need Zombie and Void to make a U-turn and withdraw their statements about him. However, knowing that it was unlikely that he could fight either of them and come out on top, he enlisted the help of Farkie. He had become very curious about the past after Lopez had been very muted on the topic, only telling Farkie that they had been good friends with a few hiccups along the way. Punani Inc. had been researching the past, with Blake searching for the Temple of Time, which he had been informed about through a book left to him. He promised Farkie to share the secrets of the temple if he helped him with this, and he agreed. Blake brought Void to his secret base in the woods to negotiate a settlement. In reality, Blake threatened her, demanding an apology, but she refused, and that gave Blake no other option. When Blake arrived at spawn expecting to see Void dead, it was a very different picture. The balance of power had quickly changed, with Farkie backing down, leaving Blake in a standoff with Zombie, Lopez, and Void. They had all come to the agreement to kill Blake, and stop him from causing any more chaos of his business, for a second time. Zombie told Farkie that what Blake had promised him was probably not real, and that he should stop looking for answers. This would not shake Farkie's obsession with finding out what happened in the past, but it would temporarily put it on hold.
Dreams, nightmares, reality. There's not much of a difference if you put your mind to it. If I can enter people's minds, I have the power to achieve anything.
Who are you and what are you doing here?
As a child, I understand you felt alone. There was a time when I did too. I still long to be with others, to become something, to be noticed. I only wish to help you, good Emmy.
But why are you here talking to me?
I mean you no harm. I simply have an offer.
An offer? Yeah, no, thank you.
You're afraid. Try to hide it, but it's obvious. I know who you are. You can trust me. You can be free. Happy. No longer worry about being alone. Isn't that what you want?
I can be free?
It's rare for me to get such opportunities, good Emmy. Wouldn't rush your answer.
I'm just so confused.
Perhaps, in time, it will begin to make sense. I know you'll make the right choice. You'll do the right thing.
But what is the right choice? The right thing? Just tell me.
Open your eyes, good Emmy. Open your eyes and wake up.
Lopez had noticed some weird occurrences. A massive domino had appeared in her front yard. And her neighbour Minty had been receiving a lot of visitors in the dead of night. Something was happening, something strange, and she couldn't quite figure it out. Feeling alone after Blake's passing, Farkie joined the TPD, an organisation dedicated to peace at any cost. Its members were Erica, Hawaii, Snowlar, and now Farkie. Conflicts had arisen with Zombie, Void, and Tony. The TPD had based next to Zombie's pyramid, and he was fearful of the fact that an independent army had set up camp next to his peaceful abode. Whilst Zombie and Hawaii had not been able to come up with a solution, Farkie quickly stepped in to mediate the situation, offering to Hawaii that he would build him a new base in return for them pulling out of Zombie's land. The two parties agreed to this deal. The new base that Farkie would build would make the old one look minuscule. It was deep underground and hidden far away, so both Farkie and Hawaii could hide their wealth there. Void had come to speak with Lopez. Both had received invites to Kotak and Susie's wedding, but that was not the topic of the conversation. It was something much more peculiar. Void told Lopez that they believed them about everything they had claimed to remember. Lopez brushed her off and said thanks, until Void said,
Greg's always wins.
The wedding would begin with everybody gathering at the new venue built at Spawn. Everything was going as planned. Everybody was having fun. Kotak read the book, and the book said run. Void told Zombie about what she had seen. Zombie, again, didn't believe her. Void's nightmares were just nightmares. But Lopez understood, telling Void this was a worst case scenario. Lopez knew this past Blake very well, and she knew exactly what he was capable of. They both assumed Farkie was also working with him, as he was not at the wedding, and someone had to be the invisible person. Kotak interrogated Farkie about what happened, suspicious of him, and telling him that if he was involved, he should own up now. Kotak told him that there's a group, of which he is a part of, that holds immense power, and is willing to act in defense of any of its members. But Farkie does not own up, and he reinforces that whatever Kotak has, he can match it with the TPD. However, the TPD had begun to crack. Snowlar had switched sides, joining this mysterious organisation Kotak had described. Farkie meets with Blake, and they would discuss how they can fight back against his organisation, telling him that together they're unstoppable, like they used to be in the past. Blake revealed to him that Lopez had lied, telling Farkie that he and Lopez had not been the best of friends, really, and the majority of the time had been sworn enemies. This made Farkie feel betrayed and hurt. Lopez had lied to him, manipulated him. Blake would explore this unfamiliar place, going back to his past self's base. Similar to Lopez, he found a domino with a sign directed at him. Somebody was out to get him, and he would find a clue to who it was upon finding Ryan's base the next day. He discovered a book titled Escalating, and it told him everything he needed to know. He tried reaching out to this organisation by any means necessary, but he was ignored. Knowing that he would have to make a statement, he targeted one of its members, called Denny, putting a book with the unreasonable demands of him dismantling the walls around his base. These demands were designed to be rejected, as Blake needed to make some noise. Noise in the form of him coming and blowing up those very walls a few days later with stacks upon stacks of TNT. This caught their attention. Mole finally agreed to meet with Blake and discuss things.
So, what is Escalating?
Escalating? Well, it's just a group of friends having fun, I guess.
Then why does your leader lurk in the shadows like they're hiding something?
Oh, I'm sitting here in front of you. And did you get the impression that I'm hiding?
Listen, I'm only gonna ask this once more. Who is Sominod?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You see, you definitely do.
Just leave.
I was right, Mole. I know you're scared. I know you're hiding. And I know exactly what you're hiding.
Said leave!
Blake would do the opposite of leaving. He would continue to press on. He had a plan, but to complete it, he would need help. He had spent a lot of time understanding his former self, who used to inhabit this world, and understood that he was on the trail of a temple of time. Blake didn't care much for this, but he knew someone who did, Farkie, and it was Farkie's help he was going to need. Farkie and Blake would move on Minty's house, taking them hostage, with Blake knowing that Minty was a member of this group. This would hopefully bring them all out into the open, to come rescue their comrade. And in time, they arrived. Mole, Kodeni, Kotak, and Sriracha. Farkie was worried. He didn't want to have to hurt any of them. After all, he was friends with all of them. But Blake convinced him that this organization was out to cause chaos and bloodshed, on a scale they had never seen before. Plus, by doing this, Farkie would be a step closer to getting the knowledge he so desired from the Temple of Time. Blake and Farkie walked outside to face their opponents, with Minty being kept behind them. Blake offered Mole to swap Minty for cooperation with Axolotus. This surprised Farkie, who thought the whole point of this was to fight this organization, not join them. But Mole would make that choice for them.
Axolotus doesn't make deals with the likes of you BS games.
It was time to negotiate with force. Lopez met with Void again, showing her that the crystals had formed a defensive wall around Puss Kingdom. This prevented anybody with bad intentions from entering, protecting it and making it a safe haven for innocent people. Void was stunned. Lopez made Void promise that if she was ever to become unable to rule the kingdom, the Void would take over in her place, to ensure that it remains that safe place. Void promised Lopez that she would do whatever was needed. Hawaii had become increasingly suspicious of Farkie and his continued cooperation with Blake, somebody who the TPD considered to be a threat to peace and stability. Farkie continued to promise that everything he was doing was for the greater good, with knowledge that he could gain information that could be vital to understanding the world that they lived in. Hawaii would make sure to keep one eye on Farkie and one eye on the task at hand in the meantime.
A wise person once said to me that friendship is like a building. It has foundations. And Ryan, we're friends. And how come have you betrayed me, Ryan? You put us at risk of losing everything we've built and fought for. Foundations hold up the building, keep it steady, and whilst bricks may be removed, the foundation always remains. Our friendship is that foundation, Ryan, and I forgive you. That was quite the show you put on back there. How about I say we put on a show far more extravagant?
Lopez would find a book addressed to her in their mailbox outside Puss Kingdom. Dear Lopez, it is my pleasure and delight to inform you that you've been invited to the port via masquerade. Lopez, suspicious of the message, ignored the book, burning it. She was not going to fall into any trap. She was safe in her kingdom and leaving it would put her at risk. But every single day, Lopez would receive a new book and a new domino. The messages continuing to get more and more hostile. The last one, accompanied by a sign on the domino saying, "You're hiding within these walls to escape the dark void of which you fear." Lopez had had enough of this. Convinced the only place to find answers was in the void, which is mentioned on the sign, of which she had only been to before after dying to Blake all those months ago. She knew only one way to get there: death. As Lopez built a tower up to take her own life, a familiar voice that she had not heard in a long time suddenly rung out. It was Shay. She revealed that she'd just escaped the void after being trapped there since Zombie killed her months ago. She told Lopez that if she went down there, all that she would find is unspeakable horrors, and urged her not to go. But Lopez, still fixated on finding an answer, continued building. Shay continued to plead, telling her that this is what Sonomad wants, but Lopez had already jumped from the tower. Everybody had been receiving invites for the masquerade, including the members of the TPD. Hawaii was suspicious that this was a trap set by Blake, and so suggested that the TPD use the trap against him and planned to kill Blake. Still on the hunt for the knowledge of the Temple of Time, Farkie was against this. Killing Blake would make this impossible. Farkie could not allow Hawaii to kill Blake. Meeting with Blake, he informed him of Hawaii's plan to kill him. Blake, in return, told Farkie that they would have to help him kill Hawaii. He had become too much of a threat to Blake's plans, and needed to die as a result. Farkie was torn between Hawaii and Blake. He needed both of them, and the TPD was like his family. But Blake assured him that whilst Hawaii had to die, Erica would remain unharmed. Farkie would question Blake about how he knew so much about the masquerade, with Blake telling him that he and somebody else were the hosts.
Everything I've learned on Takeaway, I've always been unsure of, apart from one thing. The lesson you taught me, Lopez. Trust. And now, even that's something I'm unsure of. I've had two things since the start of this server. Your alliance, and the hoodie on my back. It doesn't feel right to have one without the other. I said it before many times, and although you're gone, it still stands. I believe you.
Cast a shadow. Oh, maybe possibly it's a thought you think is true. How when you appear to be, believe. Never loved love so much.
My time here with you is finished. You've listened to everything I've needed to say. There's only two things I want to tell you, and they'll carry great significance with you. You need to forget everyone, everything that anyone has ever done to you. You forget. You remember these events. You don't remember who did it. And two, you're going to a masquerade. I need you to send a message. You'll meet someone at the masquerade, but I'd like you to meet them first, before anything.
You're Domino's, right?
Foolish mortal. I am the one they call Sominot. I was summoned to inform you that change is heading your way. Now you can choose to change with it, or be left in the dark void of which you fear.
Wait, what? What?
Silence! Now, Lucas, I have had my eye on you for a long time. Longer than what you may think. You need me. One day you'll understand that. And one day we shall meet. It's just a matter of time.
Everybody met at spawn, ready for the masquerade. Despite going with Zombie and Tony, Void saw a familiar face. It was Lopez. She was alive somehow. But upon greeting her, Lopez seemed confused and lost, not recognizing Void at all. There was a brief security check before entering the masquerade. Armor and weapons were not allowed inside, but Farkie sneakily used a potion of invisibility to bypass her and enter the event with all of his gear. The masquerade room was very grand, with everybody entering to some background music playing. Everybody grabbed drinks and talked to each other. Cordeni even proposed to Lizzie, to which she said yes.
Gather around, everyone, and please take a seat. Presenting our host, Sonimod.
I say, what an excellent turnout. I believe some games are in order, don't you? You'll all be given a piece of paper, and it is something that someone else has done which none of you know about. It is your job to guess and discover who did it. Zombie, you will read yours first.
I'm just a sidekick, but still bathing in blood.
I lied to my friends about everything.
I stole from my own business and blamed it on someone else.
Okay, fine. I'll admit it. It was me. I stole from the pub. And I'm so sorry about lying.
We're all highly disappointed in you, Zombie Dwarf.
I don't like this game. I think we should move on.
Very well. For the next game, I require 3 volunteers. I'd like to know how much you trust your friends, Voidhall, Cordemini, and Minty, because your lives are now in their hands. Let's see who your true friends are.
On the run from Hawaii, Farkie and Erica would escape to the abandoned house which they had found all those months ago, rebuilding it and making it into their home, far away from society. A few days had passed since the masquerade. Void had returned, but become distant from Zombie, blaming him for letting her die to Solimod. This has led Zombie down a downward spiraling path, and he has returned to the pub, going to the basement, getting all the alcohol, and getting very drunk.
Let's take a walk, Zombie.
Why did you bring me here, Blake?
I'm glad you asked. This is where I rigged the vote, in that fun little game to kill Void. It's like you said, Zombie. Like father, like daughter. And you know what that means.
You're going to pay for that.
Any last words, Void?
Blake, why are you doing this?
I'm mending old wounds, that's all. After this is all done, I can finally rest.
How many more people are you planning on killing just to rest?
One more. You know, Farkie, you could come with me, and we could end this together.
I'm good. I'm okay.
Then, I may as well give you this now. It's time you have it back.
Good luck, old friend.
Lopez, you know what's about to happen, don't you?
What could I ever do to stop you, Blake? Kill you?
Start another destructive war just to have it happen over and over again? One day you'll realize there's more to life than just power and killing. Or maybe that's just your purpose. To kill. Without it, you're nothing.
Hello, BS Games. Did you miss me?